Hey everybody, Vampire Tekking here to do this week's Bleach review. This show can be quite unorthodox sometimes. Don't you agree, Santa Froki? Indubitably. Hey everybody, Vampire Tekking here to review Bleach chapter number 581 entitled The Hero 2. Including the return of one of these people. So chapter starts off with, to be honest, a pretty kick-ass color page here featuring Bambietta's little female Sternritter clique. We have Giselle Guel up in the corner with her little cross-eyed thing she apparently does now. I guess we're making that a running gag. I know she did that in the last chapter, one time when all the other Shinigami were crowding around her. Then we have Candace Catnip doing that weird thing with her tongue that every girl likes to do whenever they take a Facebook post or whatever. I don't exactly know how that caught on, but Candace Catnip's apparently in the freaking loop. Lilito Lampert, who's revealed to be blonde, okay, whatever, eating an ice cream pop, and then we have Menace McAllen just kind of doing whatever she does. Also, a nice little plug for the next Bleach volume, tucked away in the corner there, Kubo. I didn't think I'd see that, huh? That's right, people. Go out and buy Here, Fear, Here, volume 63 of Bleach, personally endorsed by this creepy son of a bitch. So, of course, this chapter will start off at the exact point that we left off last chapter, with the four Sternritter girls being completely shocked as this crazy skull-shaped explosion occurs in the air. They turn around and they see the person who's entered the Soul Society. I'm kidding! That's not how Kubo does things. No. See, this is how you have to do it. You have to set up the cliffhanger for this chapter at the very end of last chapter. So, we have the big explosion, like, oh man, who's it gonna be? And we don't find that out until the very end of this chapter. That way, it pads it out more. Pretty clever, Kubo, I have to give you that much. Kind of the same thing would happen with Kenpachi Zanpakuto no Zarashi. At the end of chapter 576, he's just like, I'm getting really excited, no Zarashi. I'm like, holy shit, he called its name. But you don't actually see what it looks like until the very end of the next chapter. And that entire chapter 577 was pretty much just filled with everybody looking up at the sky at a massive death ball heading towards them. That was basically the entirety of that chapter. And that's basically the entirety of this chapter. Just a little bit of padding until the reveal at the end. So, with that in mind, we start off with everybody's favorite punching bag and the lieutenant of the 2nd Division, Maurizio Omaida. He's currently fighting off some random Sternritter fodder, as well as trying to protect his sister and Soifon, who he has both cradled on his back unconscious. And, you gotta give Omaida some credit. I mean, I know these are just random Sternritter soldiers. I'm not even sure what the story is with these guys. I mean, these are the kind of same people that that random guy that Bambietta took back to her chambers and apparently fucked and then killed like a friggin' praying mantis. So, I don't know if these guys are Quincy's or they're just like regular people, like soldiers that like stormtroopers that Bach just dressed up and just gave them some, weaponry and just like go out and just kind of defeat all the low-level Shinigami or whatever. But regardless, Omaida is clearly outnumbered. He has to protect both his sister and Soifon, both of who are unconscious. So he has one arm kind of like delayed to that just to keep them up on his shoulder. And then he also has to protect them using his sword. So he's fighting these like 5 or 6 soldiers basically one-handed. And he's actually doing a pretty decent job, I guess. And he says to himself it would have been a lot easier if Soifon wouldn't have been unconscious, but, that's just how it goes. So he hears a voice that basically just says, oh, you must have froze over. You're trying to protect your sis and the captain. That's so cool. And then in front of him, like, all 3 of them just instantly get blown up. Like, the upper halves of their body just explode, and they drop to the ground. And then it's revealed that it's Shinji and Momo. Okay! This is good! This is good! Not having people that just got, one-shotted get taken out of the fight altogether. So that's good. Momo, I really don't give a shit about. When she got taken out by Bambietta, I'm just like, okay, whatever. Momo's gonna be the one that's gonna save this arc. Her being taken out of it, that's what really has ended this series. But Shinji, I was a little pissed off by, because Shinji, he uses his Sakanade ability, which I always think is a really cool power, and he seems to think so too, because every time he uses it, he's just like, I'm invincible, or he thinks that they're not going to be able to counter it, but then boom, Aizen counters it because he's just Aizen, and Bambietta counters it by just exploding the entire area. So it's honestly kind of a it could be a really cool ability. It's just every time he chooses to use it, he chooses to use it against the worst possible opponents. That's just how it goes. But anyway, they're both back in the fight. I guess it was Momo the one that just cold-heartedly blew the ever-loving fuck out of these 3 soldiers, so that's pretty cool. Though Chica got some balls finally. All right, whatever. So Shinji's just kind of there, and he's injured, but he's also still has enough energy to go with his normal, like, Cheshire Cat smile and just be like, you made me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Because of that, I'll lend you a hand. And Momo's just like, no, he's just kidding around. Even if you didn't make him feel all warm and fuzzy inside, we still might have helped you. Maybe. But anyway, Marechio is kind of shocked by this, so they show up and they're like, okay, so what we gotta do is, Momo, you go heal Soifone. Apparently she's a medic now, wherever that came from, I don't freaking know. So she's a medic, she starts healing up Soifone and I guess Marechio's sister, and Shinji goes on to explain that after this is done, we really need to hurry over to Kenpachi Zaraki's place because, I guess because of his wavering Ryatsu after his fight with Gremmy, it was actually very apparent to everybody in the Soul Society that Kenpachi was weakened, and all the Sternritters, I guess, started pouring out to his location, and Shinji's like, I guess they assume that if they take out Zaraki, our morale will be severely encumbered, or our fighting force will be severely cut back, and you know what? They're kind of right, because guess what? It turns out that if Zaraki goes down, he's really one of the very few people that can actually hold a candle to the Quincy's. Probably the reason that he's one of the war potentials. Because just go down the list. I included Shinji and Momo in this, a couple chapters ago, but really there's not many more people to fight. I mean, even if Momo does heal up Soifone, I mean, Shinji even said, she's good at healing, but she ain't no Unohana. She's not going to be able to heal them to the point where they're going to be able to, like, full power Bankai. They're like, might heal to the point where they could regain consciousness. That's, like, the most we can get to. So there's really not a lot of people left in the Soul Society that can fight, so we need to save Kenpachi. And almost as fast as Stephanie Meyer completely fucked over the way vampires are portrayed in media, Bazz-B shows up and screws up their entire plans because he just heard everything. He just heard all the latest gossip that Shinji just laid down on everybody. So, he's even up there, he's just like, thanks for the Cliff Notes version, dude. That made it a lot easier. I mean, I was just about to hack your freaking Facebook, but, okay, alright, so I guess I gotta prevent you guys from heading over to Kenpachi. And you gotta love Shinji because even after he knows that they've been found out by Bazz-B, he's just standing there just like, you're sticking nose in my business, huh, boy? And Bazz-B's just up there being like, nah, I'm sticking in my whole body. Burner Finger 3. So, I don't know if translations, I know, I just fucking hilarious. Anyway, so he uses Burner Finger 3, which we actually finally get a good definition of exactly what this move is. When he used them against Toshiro, I just assumed, like, it's just erupting a pillar of fire directly from his hands, or fingers, I guess. No, apparently what it is it's lava. It's molten lava that shoots out of this guy's fingers in, like, a concentrated point, like a bullet. And when he uses 3 of them, it actually makes it like a giant, like, wave of it coming right at your enemies. So, hey, Gremmy, this is our lessons on how to deal with lava-based attacks, okay? Not just throwing it at your opponent like a wave for you to cut, okay? Just saying, you're dead now, doesn't mean much anymore, but hey, maybe you'll come back as a vampire, and you could do it again, kinda cool. So Bazz-B is just like, oh yeah, don't worry, when the lava touches you, it'll basically kill you instantly. You'll get off a lot easier than Kenpachi does. And Shinji looks shocked by this, but we don't really get much else, and we just cut away. So I don't know how the hell Shinji's gonna get out of this one, because his power would do nothing. It's the same thing with Bambietta. Bambietta gets confused with Shinji's Sakanade ability, she just blows up the entire vicinity. If he managed to use it against Bazz-B, I imagine Bazz-B would just do like Burning Stomp or something and just erupt the entire area. So omnidirectional attacks are kind of his Achilles heel. Momo, I mean, Keto expert might be able to do something with this, but I really don't see anything with her. I mean, she has a fire-based Zanpakuto. Well, it's a Keto type, but it shoots out fireballs and shit. I don't know if she's going to be able to do anything with that. And, so everybody else in the area is pretty much unconscious or dead, so I don't know how that's going to work. I'm just glad to see Bazz-B again, because the guy, he kind of got swagger jacked by, like, King Do. King Do shows up, and he's just like, no, I'll finish this one off. And then we've seen him occasionally since then, but we haven't seen him do anything. So, hey, Bazz-B's back in the fight. That's pretty cool. So then we cut over to Rukia and Byakuya, one of the only, another group that's like, one of the very few groups in the Soul Society that's still conscious and still fight-able. So she sees one of Candace Catnip's lightning bolts, I guess, that struck Kenpachi. I guess this is the one that struck him down, like, managed to, like, make him, like, completely unmovable. Like, that's the one, like, last chapter. So she notices that, and she's like, oh, shit, we gotta hurry, Nisama. And Byakuya's just like, oh, hey, cool your jets there, know, Skippy. We need to hold off until you've completely recovered from your last battle. I guess her Bankai, or I guess, I was assuming it would be her Bankai, just did more damage to her than she thought. Maybe it takes her a while to get back up to her body temperature or whatever she's doing with that. She seems fine to me, so I don't know what he was talking about. Maybe it's just like her Ryatsu dipped or something. I don't know. It's very vague. So anyway, she's about to retort to him, but then she senses something in the sky, and she just looks up, and she sees nothing, but she's sensing a Ryatsu that's all too familiar to her, and she's like, oh, Nisama, did you feel that? And Byakuya's just like, what are you talking about? It's like, this Ryatsu is Ichigo's. Now, interesting thing right here. Byakuya has always been really good at sensing Ryatsu. Like, that's been one of his traits. He's always been good at that. So when Rukia mentioned, like, oh, this is Ichigo, Byakuya's just like, what are you talking about? So either Byakuya was just, like, so distracted by the other fights or something else, he didn't recognize it as Ichigo's, or it's some kind of, like, I don't know what it is. I mean, I'm assuming the way that Rukia would be able to recognize it is because Rukia and Ichigo have always kind of had that close bond. Some people would kind of wish that it's more than just a close, you know, like, brother-sister type bond, but that's beside the point. That's neither here nor there. Ichiruki FTW. But anyway, Byakuya, on the other hand, doesn't have that connection with Ichigo to such extent, so I can understand why, even if Ichigo's Ryatsu vastly changes to the point where it's not even recognizable anymore, Rukia would be able to still tell it's him and Orihime and Chad and all of his closest friends, obviously, but maybe not Byakuya. Maybe that's what Kubo was trying to go for here, how Rukia was able to sense it first, and Byakuya wasn't. And then we get a really cool first-person perspective of the individual that's heading through the clouds, and he arrives in the Seirete, so we can see Seirete from above, and then we see him heading down through the clouds, ready to crash down to the Seki barrier. Oh shit, that guy's coming right toward us. Don't worry, guys. Sternritter Shaz Domino's on the scene for this one. Oh god, I'm bad at this. Yeah, Shaz, maybe you need to stop going after the bright lights in the sky. You kind of get curb stomped every time that happens. I know, it's just... my motive is kind of like a cat or like a leopard. I don't even fucking know, and I'm just really attracted to shiny things. Yeah, buddy, well, hey, I don't mean to kind of rub it in deeper, but, what are you gonna say? It's just, what is it? Why are you laughing? It's just, he ain't got no time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I had to work in Shaz Domino somewhere. No one gives a fuck about Shaz Domino. Am I the only person who's interested in exactly what this dude's power was? I mean, he's all dressed up like a leopard or some shit, or a cheetah, I don't know, and he's got the super, like, dagger things he throws. I don't know, I'm just interested in this guy. Give me a backstory for this dude, Kubo. Was he like a zookeeper that one day got mauled by the leopard or the cheetah or whatever, a leopard and a cheetah, and he became a leopard-cheetah hybrid, a shepherd, and then he's in the hospital and he has this massive bite wound all over his freaking body, and then Yuha shows up and he's like, dude, man, you messed up, boy. And then he just like resurrects him. He's like, I'll give you the power of the, I don't know, of the knife with an, oh, he's gonna be Sternritter N. I know he's gonna be Sternritter N. This is gonna be the mistake that like Sternritter Bingo is gonna lie with this guy. Kubo's just not revealing it yet because he likes to mess up with my plans. Okay, anyway, so going back to the plot, we get scenes from all over the Vonente with everybody looking up and staring. We have Renji there, who I guess Nana Shana Nana is still not doing anything with him. You'd think, I mean, this was a while ago. This was like almost 20 chapters ago. He's just like, oh, that red monkey's in for some serious pain. 20 chapters later, I guess he's still just stalking him from behind the pillars. I mean, even if his power is the understand, and just by observing Renji, he's able to gain more power or gain, like, understanding of his abilities and get an advantage. I'm pretty sure he had most of that when he was sleeping in front of him, so there's no reason he shouldn't just be jumped right now by him, but whatever. We also see Ikaku, so he's still kicking. Pretty sure he got knocked out by Maste Masculine, but, you know, whatever, he's still in the game. A full-page spread of Rukia staring up to the sky, and then we cut back to the explosion that happened last chapter, but now is also happening at the very end of this chapter. Only Kubo would have been able to do this, guys. Only Kubo would have been able to do this. I mean, that's like if you're reading Naruto this week, spoiler alert, and we have Madara about to do Infinite Sokuyomi in the last chapter, and then this chapter is filled with nothing but just people looking up at the sky, like, assuming, I wonder what's going to happen on the battlefield, and then at the very end, it gets activated, and no advancement was made whatsoever, other than the fact that it was almost activated in the last chapter, and this chapter it was fully activated. Here, it's just like, Ichigo arrived last chapter, hey, guess what? Ichigo arrived last chapter. That's the only information we get. So they all look up at the sky, they're shocked, and then I can just imagine, you know, Ichigo's epic theme going on. You're number one, you know, I won't feel like number one.
Shining bright for everyone. Living out your...
Okay, so, to recap, Ichigo's flying through the freaking sky, going at some insane, ridiculous speed using some kind of uber shumpo, and then he crashes through the Senkai barrier, and then he sees the Vanante, sees the mess it's becoming. I guess he locks onto Kenpachi Zaraki because he's the weakest one, like he's the one that's about closest to death or something, or in the most trouble, and he sends over there, and he crashes into the side of a building, and they all look over, and within like a split second, from like they're looking over and be like, oh, that was kind of late, flume, and then he's already standing there without even them registering any kind of thing that happened. And keep in mind, Quincy's are pretty good at the high-speed movement. They're pretty good at, you know, hearing Kyaku. The whole idea is manipulating Reishi to move really freaking fast, and then they were like, Ichigo was able to get the jump on him. Now, that doesn't shock me very much considering the fact that it was supposed to take several weeks to get down from the Soul Palace to the Seirete, and he managed to do it within like a couple of hours. Well, no, I guess not a couple of hours, because if he left at like 5:55, that was like a whole night, so it took him maybe about like, you know, half a day or something. I think that's what he said in 5:55. It would take him about a half a day, so that's about right. So he lands, though, he crashes into a clock tower, which, good, I'm getting tired of that freaking clock tower, man. And then he arrives in front of the Sternritter girls, and he completely ignores them. He doesn't even like register that they're there. He's instead just staring down at Kenpachi, and Kenpachi's like barely freaking conscious. He's like, oh man, dude, they messed you up really good. And Kenpachi's just like, oh, dude, you really just here to make freaking fun of me? And it's just like, nah, I wouldn't do that in a million years, because I came here to save you. Yes, yes, it's so beautiful. It's finally here, ladies and gentlemen. Ichigo fucking Kurosaki. I don't know. I don't know. I like everybody. I'm really happy he's back. I really am. It's just that I think everybody came up with some idea on what else it could be except Ichigo. Like, Ichigo was too obvious, you know, for it to be him. He's like, oh, it's not time for him to show up in the battle yet. So, you know, just judging by the shape of the explosion was like in a skull. I got like three different ideas just over Facebook and everything, and like on Twitter and YouTube. People are being like, okay, well, it's in the shape of a hollow mask, therefore it's going to be Ichigo. Oh, no, it's more like the Shinigami combat pass, therefore it's Ginjo and the Fullbringers are on the scene. Which honestly, I'm waiting for that just so I get to talk about this guy again, just so I can harp on this guy some more. And it's like, oh no, it kind of looks like the impact of Chad's La Muerte attack, his Deli Gigante La Muerte attack, so that means it's Chad and it's the Huecamundo team bursting through, but no, it was just Ichigo. I mean, it's really fun. I mean, it's kind of hard not to hate it. I mean, it's kind of hard not to like this. It really isn't. I mean, you might be a little bit disappointed, like you might have been expecting some other guy that we haven't gotten in a while, but Ichigo Kurosaki, for this being the final arc out of 101 chapters, how many fights has he been in? Seriously, let's do a tally here. Okay, he fought against Ivan in like the first 3 chapters, but that wasn't really much of a fight because he just like pretty much pwned him immediately with his former Bankai. And then he fought against Kurhei, which, okay, I'll give that. That was a legitimate fight. He kind of ended up trapping in a jail, but that was still a legitimate fight against Kurhei. But after that, absolutely nothing. He fought against Yuha, Shaz. He one-hitted Shaz, and he fought against Yuha. That wasn't really a fight, because he got hit by that. He discovered, like, Blute Vein and everything, but that was all that was about. And then after that, he went to the Soul Palace, did some training there, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That is really pretty much it. The last legitimate fight this guy has had against anybody is Kurhei, like a good old-fashioned Ichigo, you know, cut him up, slash down fight, and that was almost 100 chapters ago. This guy, final arc, he needs to get some action. So even if the next chapter is him just taking on all 4 of the Sternritters, I gotta imagine if he does that, because Kenpachi's not gonna get back up. I was originally thinking, you know, like, Ichigo, Kenpachi, you know, like a tag team battle here, like 2-on-4. But unless he has, like, someone stage the 6 pass power, like, he kneels down with Kenpachi and he, like, gives him the Super Ryatsu, and Kenpachi's just like, I'm fully healed. Okay, I'm pretty sure some people would drop the series if he actually did that, so that wouldn't be a good idea. But I could totally see, like, Ichigo fighting all 4 of the Sternritters at once, and maybe with all 4 of their powers at once, Ichigo might have a little bit of difficulty, because regardless, I mean, he's just one guy. I mean, come on, guys. He's super powerful, he's super strong, he's got the new swords. He's still just one guy, though. So it's like, what is he going to do against, like, all the other Sternritters, plus, plus Yuha, plus Hashwolf, plus all this, like, all the foot soldiers. But yeah, that's pretty much the end of the chapter there. Not really much for me to add. Ichigo Kurosaki back on the scene for the win. Hope you guys enjoyed. And I also hope that you guys will go check out Arby's for a delicious Thursday night special on roast beef sandwiches. What's the main difference between me and the other Tekkings? I'm the one that sells out. I'm thinking Arby's. One more thing, ladies and gentlemen. Vampire Tekking here, hypnotizing you to go check out the YouTube channel Erasmin24. He does Pokemon LPs as well as LPs of the vastly popular series The Legend of Zelda. Go check him out because he does some really cool gaming videos. If I knew more about Zelda, I would continue this endorsement, but I really don't. That's not really my thing. I have some friends that are, though. Bye.